Live right here on the Early Line. October baseball continues at least for one more day in the wild card round on this Thursday. One of our four wild card sets yet to be determined tonight in Milwaukee. The best two words you could hope for in the wild card round. Game 3, Brewers, Mets. Craig Mish is here to preview that game, to tell you how the series will end out, to look back on what we have seen so far through the opening round of the MLB postseason. All of that. Our MLB Insider, the host of Newswire, which starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time each and every weekday here on the SportsGrid. Craig, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for more than one Game 3, but I guess, Ben, beggars can't be choosers. The last 2 years have been none, right? So let's get it going tonight.
We have at least one to be determined, and we'll look back on everything that has happened so far in the wild card round. You heard the crowd enthusiasm before the break. Let's touch them all. It's time for the Daily Bases. All right, Craig, let's look back on the National League Wild Card Series that has been determined. In only 2 games, the Padres sweep the Braves. San Diego was a hefty favorite entering the set. Atlanta, shorthanded, no Chris Sale in this series. The story of the year for the Braves with all of their injury issues. It got a little dicey last night. Robert Suarez comes in and shuts it down for San Diego. The Padres advance to the NLDS 5-4 the victory. Craig, what was your main takeaway from this National League wild card set between Atlanta and San Diego?
Yeah, I think, Ben, coming in, the Braves were in the worst position of any team entering the postseason. Once Chris Sale was out, I think the writing was on the wall, whether they lost in San Diego in 2 or in 3. They were not meant to move on. They had way too many injuries. Every team has them. I understand it's not an excuse. But the bottom line is they didn't have their best pitcher. They didn't have their best hitter. They didn't have their second best pitcher. And when I say second best, you can pick it. Is it Strider? Is it Sale? I don't know. They didn't have either. So credit to the Braves for the season that they had and getting themselves in on that last extra day of the season. But very clearly they were outmatched by the Padres. They fought them last night. They'll be back next season, Ben. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, tough breaks for the Braves all the way through. It's just amazing that they actually did make the playoffs. And you can say the same thing for the Houston Astros. We have an expectation of them being dominant in the playoffs, but just getting there at 12 games under 500 heading into the summer seemed like that was going to be a long shot. They made it there. They didn't perform all that great against the Detroit Tigers. Had an unbelievable bullpen day yesterday and then off of the Scooble start the day before. But if you look at that graphic on the screen since 2017, it was a rite of passage. You at least made the ALCS. They didn't do that this year. So that streak has been snapped, Craig. And also, what's the future for the Houston Astros?
Yeah, there's a couple of factors in here for Houston. I think the first thing is that all of these years of them cultivating and bringing up young talent development through the minor leagues, I think we're coming to an end there. So I'm not really sure how they're going to be able to pick up the pieces. You know, Verlander is no longer who he was. He said he's going to continue to pitch next season. I don't think it'll be with Houston. Alex Bregman said goodbye. Alvarez was hurt. Tucker missed most of the season. You know, Altuve is not 28 anymore. It's a good question, Donnie. I'm not really sure which direction the Astros are going to go. And on the flip side of this, though, I think, you know, it's fair to say I don't think I fired right on any of these games in the postseason. But the one thing that I will say is that a month ago, you know, we were all laughing when I said just take the Tigers to go all the way because, you know, honestly, like the team that gets hot right now is really all that matters. No indictment on Houston whatsoever. We've seen this happen time and time again in the postseason. The teams that are hot at the end of the year advance. It's a tournament, just like basketball at this point. Whoever gets hot in March moves forward. Whoever gets hot in September moves on in October.
Detroit was 55-63 on August 10th. 8 games below 500. They have won 33 of their last 46 in their first playoff series win since 2013. But, Craig, for most of this year, once Houston started to figure it out midway through June and into July, it was the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Astros all tightly compact at the top of the AL pennant odds. Well, Houston and Baltimore have been sent packing after only 2 games. The Guardians earned that other opening round bye as the 2 seed in the American League. Craig, I'm going to make you talk about one of the teams that you don't like to discuss. That's the number 1 seed in the AL, the New York Yankees. Now an even money plus 100 favorite to win the American League pennant. something the Yanks have failed to do since their last World Series crown in 2009. How does the path lay out now for the Bronx Bombers to actually get back to the World Series?
Most pressure they've had, I would say, going into this thing, Ben, as of right now. I mean, no disrespect to any of those teams in the American League Central that remain. And I don't think the Yankees have to win the World Series, fellas. But if they don't get there, there's going to be carnage, man. There really is. I mean, they should be able to go through Cleveland and win this thing if Cleveland ends up being the last team standing with New York. But, you know, for me at this point, I think it is fair to say the Yankees are the best team in the American League. They've got the rest. There's nothing more to say. If they go down, I would expect some massive changes in New York. There's really no excuse for them at this point. But to win the World Series, you never know. That's a lot to ask, guys. But I'll just say the American League.
Carnage in New York for one side on the Yankees. Could it be carnage in New York for team number two? That's the New York Mets as the underdogs tonight at a minus 130 price, favorite tonight for the Brewers in a total of 7.5. Craig, who advances the Philadelphia Phillies?
This should be a good one. If the narrative presses on, then it's the Mets, right? Like, that's kind of the way that this postseason has gone. You just take the underdog and go about your business. I think the Mets will go to Milwaukee and win. I do. I think that's probably the right play. All these teams that have been at home and have been favorites, they've really shown nothing. And, especially, guys, the Orioles of all teams not scoring runs. That's the way they go down. We spent a year talking about how the Orioles didn't get enough pitching to move on. Yeah. They didn't get enough hitting all of a sudden. I'll tell you, October baseball, man. I mean, it is so unpredictable. But I'll roll the dice tonight with the Mets.
Craig, some questions for the O's for sure. An Orioles offense that recorded 1 run and 11 hits in 2 playoff games this week against the Royals. Craig Mish, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll see you next week as the division series will already be underway. We'll see you on Newswire as well, 11 a.m. Eastern time in just about 40 minutes. The baseball breakdowns continue. Game 3 tonight in Milwaukee next. Winner take all Game 3 in the only wild card series yet to be determined tonight in Milwaukee. It's the Brewers and the Mets in the decisive game that will determine who heads to the NLDS to take on the Philadelphia Phillies with Red October soon to begin in the city of brotherly love. DRS, in all 3 games, the Milwaukee Brewers have been booked as a favorite. The Mets won outright in game number 1, 8-4. The Brew Crew came back last night to catch that favorite price at minus 118. Again, I will stress, the Amazons entered game 2 with the upset in game number 1, needing just one more win to advance to the NLDS as a minus 320 series favorite. Hope you bet the Brewers there because you would have had a wonderful middling opportunity or cash out option because Milwaukee is the home favorite tonight for game number 3. Tobias Myers gets the start for the Brew Crew. He's been pretty solid in the month of September. Jose Quintana gets the start on the other side for the Amazons. That line is not what it is now as the market is working in favor of Milwaukee, minus 130 in favor of the Brewers. Total is 7.5. How does Donnie Rightside handicap game number 3 tonight in Milwaukee?
First thing I want to say is I would have had no hedging opportunities tonight, Ben, because I would have thought the Mets would have won yesterday and never would have bet the Brewers. And the reason why we talked about or teased it throughout the show is the Mets' chance to shut the door on this series was yesterday. The better pitcher on the mound, the hotter team, and you also had a 3-1 lead. You let that slip away, which now flips over to today. And also, you start with that 7.5. I'm going under in this game. I'm going to explain why. Then we'll get to the side perspective. Jose Quintana, last 30 days in Major League Baseball, 92 batters he's faced. How about an 0.35 ISO power number and a weighted on base percentage of 202? That's absolutely fantastic. Let's go to the opposite side and go last 30 days for Tobias Myers. He has a 105 ISO and a 278 weighted on base percentage. That is fantastic as well. So right off the bat, you're getting 2 pitchers in decent form. But you know me. I like to look at analytical numbers and take that 60-day outlook of how these guys have been pitching, not just say like, oh, he had a good start or 2 down the stretch. If we go back 60 days, Jose Quintana, 57 innings pitched, a 3.47 ERA, which is actually good. But take a look at his xFIP number, 4.49. That's in the danger territory. Conversely here, Tobias Myers, 56 and 2/3 innings pitched over the past 60 days, a 2.86 ERA, and an xFIP of 3.87. So yesterday, I thought the better pitcher was on the mound for the New York Mets. That's not the case tonight. The better pitcher is on the mound here for the Milwaukee Brewers. If we're looking from plate appearances, right-handed pitchers against that Mets lineup over the past 30 days, Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo, Alonso. The usual suspects are the guys that you want to be leaning on. But also, if you're flipping it over to the other side and saying, okay, Jose Quintana, left-handed pitcher, what shakes out here for the Brewers? Contreras, Sanchez, Hoskins, Frelick, and Ortiz, decent options. But having said that, last night, I loved the Mets bats, cashed the parlay by the second inning. It was fantastic. I don't have that same love for this game tonight because you need participants. What I mean by that is I need to see that offense, which can hit left-handed pitching or right-handed pitching, whatever it might be, right? But also, I need those pitchers to help me out. And if we're getting ISO power numbers, at 0.35 like Quintana, that doesn't bowl well. And also, handicapping in a game number 3 is extremely hard. Why? Because we don't know how long these pitchers are going to go. In a perfect world, they both throw shutouts through 8 innings. You let the bullpen in the 9th inning and extra innings and bail you out. That's not the case. You might have a pitcher, Ben, that doesn't give up a hit through 4 innings, lets the first 2 runners on in that next inning where he's only at 46 pitches. He's removed from that ball game because if you lose, there is no tomorrow. So good luck on this game tonight. I think it stays under, and I think the Brewers win. But from a prop perspective, I'm steering clear of this one, Ben.
The 26-year-old Tobias Myers in his first year fully up in the bigs, 9-6 with a 3 ERA, as you saw. He picked up his 9th win of the year in his last start of the regular season Saturday against who? These Mets. Milwaukee won 2 of 3 in their final regular season set against the Amazons, hoping to do the same tonight. And Donnie, you mentioned how much the bullpen is going to factor into this game. You almost get that picture-perfect recipe for Pat Murphy tonight from Myers' last start against New York on Saturday. 4 innings of work, shutout baseball, allowing just 1 hit in 5 Ks. That would be more than they could hope for tonight in Wisconsin. Jose Quintana, the veteran, as compared to the 26-year-old Myers, but only 2 stints in the postseason. With Chicago, the Cubs in 2017, the Cardinals back 3 years ago in 2022. He has appeared in 5 postseason games. He has made 4 playoff starts. He has an 0-1 record, 18 2/3 innings of work. What a game we have tonight to decide the final spot in the division series. And in that round, the winner heads to Philadelphia on Saturday.